My name is Ann Lee. I'm the author of the books What the US Can Learn from China and the book Will China's Economy Collapse? Question mark. And I've been a former Wall Street investment banker, as well as a professor at Peking University and at NYU. There have been many changes since 2017 when I published the book, Will China's Economy Collapse? Some achievements that I've seen since that time the book came out, I would say number one is that China and the US have managed to avoid a military war. That was certainly a concern I brought up in my book because I knew that tensions were going up and that risk of military conflict was not out of the cards. And while we're still not out of the woods, at least we have not entered to that level of confrontation yet. So that's good news. Secondly, I think another achievement that China has accomplished since then is that they've officially ended poverty, which they had defined as living less than $1 a day. So nobody in China now is at that living standard, which I think is a pretty significant accomplishment for them, given that there's so many other places where there are more people in their population falling into poverty. So China's going the other direction, which is, quite impressive. Regarding China's failure since then, I would say that probably the biggest one is that they still have not achieved breakthroughs in some of their semiconductor technology that still seems to be a little bit elusive for them for the time being. I think they've made some minor breakthroughs in their thin film etching, but they still, cannot compete with TSMC at this point. So that is something they need to work on. And secondly, I still feel that their soft power is relatively weak. They have tried wolf diplomacy, but they have not been that successful in winning over the hearts and minds of many democratic states. And so I think that's something that they need to still work on. And so I would chalk that as a failure still. I believe that China's performance during the pandemic was quite reasonable. Obviously, in 2020, it didn't grow much, and neither did the rest of the world. Most of the world actually had negative growth, while China eked out a positive growth, about 2%. Last year in 2021, China started out relatively strong. It recorded about a 13% growth rate in the first quarter and ended the year with a 4% growth rate with an average of 8% growth for the year. And some of the reasons why the growth slowed towards the end of the year was due to the Chinese government's crackdown on their real estate sector, their education sector, as well as their big tech sector. They were promoting this policy of common prosperity. So they were asking a lot of the large tech companies and billionaires to contribute more to charity and to the other parts of the country that weren't doing as well. They also were cracking down on energy. And so industries that relied heavily on energy, such as the steel manufacturing, cement manufacturing, even the semiconductors, they all suffered slowdowns and were even shut down at times. So looking forward into 2022, I think the outlook continues to be mixed. On the positive side, China's government certainly has a lot of tools in the toolbox from their central bank's point perspective, because they can always lower the bank reserve ratios. The requirements stand at about 8.5% right now. They could lower that to release more money into the economy. They could also lower their interest rates, which right now I think are basically around 3.5%. versus 0% in the US. So there's still room for them to, adjust liquidity conditions in China to help boost growth. But on the other hand, China's government maintains a zero COVID policy, which I think will continue to constrain domestic consumption in the country. And so that's going to, keep growth from really, showing a strong performance here.